Hey everybody, it's Scooby here. So today I'm going to show you how you can do your very own water drop race. Now this activity is perfect if it's too hot outside or if it's raining. It's a pretty cool way to bring a water game indoors. So I'm just going to get right into the resources that you're going to need. You will need first a nice flat large surface area. So I'm just using a big table that I have. You will also need a garbage bag just to help contain the mess of the water. You will also need some wax paper. Now, I don't have wax paper specifically, but I do have parchment paper, so that's what I'm going to be using for this. Since parchment paper has a very thin layer of wax on it, it will work for this activity, but I would suggest using wax paper because it does have a thicker layer on it. It is more water resistant. You will also need a straw. Depending on how many players are playing the game is how many straws you will need. So if you have 2 players, you will need 2 straws, 1 for each player. You will also need water, which I have in here, a small cup obviously to hold the water. You can use, I'm using a teaspoon, you can use an eyedropper. I don't have that, so I'm just going to be using a teaspoon. I also added some food coloring so that you would be able to see the water droplets that I placed on my parchment paper. You can also incorporate it into your game. Each player can use their own food coloring to sort of have their own droplets in the race. I also grabbed some paper towel because as you can see, I got a little bit messy. So I just have paper towel with me in case anything like that is to happen. So I've got my paper in front of me. I cut out a pretty large piece. I can hold it up for you. It's about that large. We want it large enough so that if we are racing somebody else, we have enough space to do that. So to set up the race, we have our garbage bag down. We have placed our piece of parchment paper on top. I'm going to now move this to the side. So before I talk about all the competitions that you can do with this activity, we're going to do a couple of practice rounds. So I'm going to take my cup of water and I'm just simply going to drop some water just onto the paper. Now you can make your water droplets as big or as small as you would like. Since we're doing a practice round, I'm going to make them fairly large. Let me just move the laptop closer so you can see. Okay, so now that is all set in place, you are simply going to, I'm just going to move this back to you. I would suggest standing for this so that you can position yourself in a way so that you will be able to get to your water droplets. So you're simply just going to put the straw into your mouth and blow out, pushing the water droplet across the parchment paper. After you've done a couple of practice rounds and you're feeling comfortable with your straw, you can go ahead and get another player or another couple of players and you can actually race them. So I can show you a couple of different competitions that you can do with some of your friends or your family members that can make it a little bit more challenging for you. Okay, so Let me just grab one. So the first one I'm going to show you is how far you can get your water droplet in one breath. Okay, there's my water droplet. Got my straw. I'm going to stand up for this. And then take a deep, 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 deep breath in. I lost some of it. Now I'm going to try to get all of the water droplets back into the big one. Just using one big breath to do that. Okay, so that's as far as I can get it, except it all sort of separated, but that's okay. So I'm simply just going to take a piece of paper towel, fold it a little bit, and just lift it off. Okay. Another one that you can do as a competition is trying to get your water droplet to the finish line using as few breaths as possible. Okay, so I'm gonna see how many I can do to get it to the other side. I'm hoping that I can do it in 4 breaths. So I couldn't get it in 4 breaths. Let's see how many breaths it'll take for me to get to the other side. So it took me 6 breaths to get it to the other side. Now the last one I'm going to show you is going to be timed. So let me just grab my phone quickly, set it up on a timer, and I will be right back to show you. Okay, so I am going to set a 30-second timer, and we're going to see how long it takes me to get one droplet from the start line all the way to the finish line. So let me get my water droplet in place. Okay, I am at the start line. Gotta set my timer. Got my straw done. And 3, 2, 1. Oh, I had 1 second to spare and I made it across. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I hope to see some posts about your own water droplet races. Feel free to share those with us on our Facebook, Instagram at Greenway-Chaplin.